Genesis chapter 8, verse 13. After this particular video, we're going to pause and focus on Psalm 22 leading up through Easter, and then we'll come back to Genesis 8. But this is going to be a nice place to rest, if you will, kind of bringing to a conclusion the bulk of the flood narrative in terms of the actual waters and the devastation. And then after this verse, we'll see God is now kind of moving things forward with Noah and his family. So we'll pick up that after Easter. So let's dig into this verse. It's a long one, but there's some interesting stuff going on. So let's take a look. Ke egeneta into heni ke exakosiasto ete ente zoe tu noe tu protumenos mia tu menos ex elipin ta hudor apates geis. And we'll finish up here in a minute. You'll notice we have a nice strong discourse marker here with this kai egeneta, the vayahi in Hebrew. It's not moving to the conclusion of the section, but it is basically saying, okay, we're going to now summarize things, if you will. And it happened that in light of all the preceding stuff. Then we're going to have a bunch of chronological stuff going on. Into heni. So in the first, and this is the dative singular of the number one, and exakosiasto is the word for 600th. So if you put it together, it's the 601st, and then it's ete here, that is the word for year. So it's in the 601st year in the life of Noah. So we'll summarize the chronology here in a minute. And then we find out even further, it's of the first of the month. So menos here is from Maine. We've seen that before, so that's your month word. So in the first month, and it's on the mia to menos, on the first of the month. Now you'll notice that we go from a masculine form of the heni to a feminine form of the same word. That both of these are haste here, but it's feminine here because we're referring to the first day by implication, the hemera. Even though it's not stated. So on the first of the month, the first day of the month, if you will, now we actually have our verb, which is from eklepo, third singular aorist, active indicative. That means to withdraw, to pass away from, something to that effect. And the subject here is the water. So the water drew back, it receded, and it's from the earth. So now we have confirmation here from the narrator, which is what we already knew from the dove not returning to Noah, that the water has indeed fallen away, if you will, from the earth. Now let's continue by just focusing, before we actually continue, let's talk about the time frame here. This time marker, 601st first year of Noah, first of the month, first day of the month, etc. What we have here is a circle back to Genesis 7:11, where this all kind of started, if you will. And there in the Greek it said in the 600th year of Noah's life, on the second month and the 27th day. Now that's the old Greek rendering. If you remember, the Masoretic has 17th day, so it's a 10-day gap. That's when all the water started. So if you do the math, in the Greek at least, the total time frame has been 304 days or 314 days in the Masoretic. And so just worth stepping back. It's been a long time, almost a year, whereby the waters had essentially inundated the earth, and now they have fully receded. And so let's finish. Ke apokalupsin noe tein stegen tes kibotu hein epoiesin. Ke eden hati exelipin tahudor apoprasapu tes geis. Some of this is a repeat of the prior half of the verse, but let's focus here on the main verb, which is from apocalypto. You probably know that as apocalyptic kind of language, but it basically just means uncover. So third singular aorist active indicative for uncover. Noah here's the subject, so he re-enters the frame once again, and he is uncovering the roof here. This is stege, which means roof, and it's the roof of the ark, and then hein epoiesin. So this hein here is referring back to the ark which he had made. Now, this which he made is an echo back to like Genesis 6 and 7, where we have this emphasis on God telling Noah, build this ark, and then God did it, he obeyed. This is not necessary to the narration, in other words, because obviously it's clear there in the ark, but it does remind us of his obedience, and God has been faithful to spare him. And when we pick this back up later on in Genesis 8, we'll see that. And so once he opens up the ark, so to speak, he sees, this is the third singular aorist form of horao, so he saw that exelipin, there's that word again from eklepo, so the water has indeed withdrawn or receded from the face of the earth, confirming with his own eyes, if you will, what he had deduced or inferred from the lack of a return of the dove. So this brings us to a nice place where we can pause in our discussion of the flood narrative. A lot of things have happened. It's been a long time that Noah and the animals and his family and everyone's been on that boat. Now they're going to be able to get off here in a minute, but we're going to pause. We'll come back to it in a few weeks after we take a look at some other things. So thanks for following along. This is Genesis 8:13.